illogical. A 2011 study found significant differences in the cognitive styles of conservatives and liberals. Now, while of course there is variation based on environmental factors, the study found that political orientation did correlate with brain structure. Liberalism was associated with a gray matter volume of the anterior cingulate cortex. It's the center of the brain that is responsible for a lot of high-level functions like ethics, morality, decision-making, and impulse control. Conservatism, on the other hand, was associated with the larger right amygdala. The right amygdala is the fear center of the brain. Now, while on their own, these factors won't necessarily dictate your belief system. However, it does influence what you respond to. So when you know your audience responds to fear, why wouldn't you just feed them things to be afraid of? That's why outlets like Fox News and QAnon are so successful. They know how to rile up their audiences. That's why conservative parties also tend to coalesce better than liberal parties. It's a lot easier to unite people when they're afraid. As long as you're addressing what they're most afraid of, they'll follow you on the rest. Meanwhile, on the left, we're sitting in the dark arguing over the ethical implications of different types of light bulbs. So yes, comrade, you are spot on. Most right-wing ideology is based on fear because that is what their base responds to.
You're telling me that right-wing media and political figures have used fear to motivate people? When has that ever happened in the past? What have they ever tried to make their audience afraid of besides China, Iran, war on terror, weapons of mass destruction, people voting, immigrants, racial equality, criminal justice reform, cancel culture, protesters? Oh crap, they're making my green M&M less bangable.
Until the moment you wouldn't want to have a drink with any one of them.
Slide my limp peeper in. The only other candy I have here is Werther's Original, and that makes me think of grandma. Nope, I'm hard again. And Fox is good at what they do, scaring the shit out of their audience. Their audience that simultaneously thinks that they're all alpha dogs. It's hilarious what they've been able to convince their audience is scary. They have gotten the right wing shaking in its boots, convincing grandmama and grandpapa that the scariest thing in the world is people on the left.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm on the left, and like, there's things about us that are scary, but not the things you're afraid of. And at the same time, they've convinced their people to be scared of people on the left. They've also convinced the people on the right that they're super brave.
All right, everybody back up.
They're like, I got so many guns. You want the Glock or the AR? This is how you hold an AR. But if a woman shows up and says, I'd like to choose what happens in my own uterus, the right wing freaks out. The right wing wears shirts that say things like, these colors don't run. But if a trans woman shows up and says, can I pee in that bathroom? They all go, run! Everybody run! People on the right, they're like, I'm an alpha dog, brother, you liberal snowflake. But like the minute they put a mask on, that suddenly, I can't breathe. I need the oxygen for my breathing. I find that humorous. I will say that I do hate videos like this, ladies, because in reality, like, everybody has a fear center. Everyone's afraid. Everybody's motivated by their fear. Pandemic, climate change. We're scared of these things. They are scary things. But I guess what makes right-wing fear-mongering so much worse, in my opinion, is that it's always based in nothing. It's fake fear. Like, the left's afraid of voting rights getting taken away because that's the right-wing plan.
We are joined by Hans von Spakovsky with the Heritage Foundation.
All of these claims need to be investigated in depth by state legislatures in all of these states. And legislators need to determine the credibility of these claims, what happened, what didn't happen, and then amend their laws governing elections to ensure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, that any holes, any security holes in the election process are fixed so that we can have confidence in the outcome of elections, no matter who wins.
That's scary for a guy to say that and for it to just bear out. And then the right wing's afraid of, like, woke, the word. It boils down to, like, not being an asshole all the time. Ah, scary, woke. The left is afraid of random vigilantes. And the right wing's like,
Reckless and destructive immigration policy is the penalty you are paying for your white supremacy. It's almost too dark to believe that's their motive, too dark to believe it's real, but it is.
you shouldn't be afraid of that because an immigrant is less likely to commit a crime than a natural-born citizen. That's a fact. The left's afraid of a medical emergency forcing them to make the decision between dying and bankrupting your entire family. Why? Because that happens every day in this country. That's some scary stuff. And the right's afraid of what? History. Me telling you that the founders of this country owned slaves. History. And that America still has a problem with race. They're afraid of me telling you that. They're afraid of me saying that thing. It triggers them so bad. Granted, they can't just say that they're afraid of history. They have to go find something, some random postgraduate concept called critical race theory. That's what you should be afraid of. Why? Because it has the word critical in it. And critical is a word in critical race theory, and it's a word on buttons that flash bright red on the cockpit dashboard in astronaut movies right before the capsule explodes. So that's why you should be afraid of it, even though me telling you that should not threaten your identity or scare you at all. Should make you want to fix stuff.